Going on, everybody? I'm your host, Ben Bally, and back with another episode of the Sports Pod. And today is part 4 of the 82 part series where I will be recapping every single Knicks game from this regular season and postseason. But a couple nights ago, they squared off with the Cleveland Cavaliers, a team that they beat in the playoffs last year, and a team that I think they're better than. Donovan Mitchell, he's been good this season, but he didn't show it the other night. He had 26 points, but it wasn't anything against the Knicks, who were led by Jalen Brunson's 18 points, but also had a lot of other guys that were in double figures. And just going back to that postseason series for a second before I really get into it, the Knicks dominated that series. They beat the Cavs in 5 games, and Mitchell Robinson showed that he is way better than Jared Allen and Evan Mobley by locking them up and doing really whatever he wanted to against them. But also for this episode, I'm gonna give my Week 9 picks. Let's get straight to Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. So for this game, I think the Knicks played a really complete game. They played from quarter 1 to quarter 4. First of all, they worked as a team, and it was really the Nova Knicks culture that we all expected coming into this season. Brunson led the team in scoring. That doesn't mean Hart didn't do anything. That doesn't mean DiVincenzo didn't do anything. DiVincenzo was on fire from 3. Hart led the team in assists, and Brunson was second in assists. So this was a really good game for the Knicks, and this is what I'm hoping to expect from them as we continue to get into this young season. Knicks have already played 5 games, but they haven't looked as good as I thought they were gonna, and it's a big part to Randall because he's been terrible. One of the all-time worst seasons through the first 5 games is what I read. But he's got to pick it up, and Brunson's got to pick it up. And if they can do that, I think the Knicks, they're gonna be a tough out in any matchup they get. So that would be the ideal situation. But the fact of the matter is that situation hasn't come upon us yet. But that situation did come upon us the other night when they dominated the Cavs 109-91 in a game where Mitchell Robinson continues to impress and RJ Barrett continues to impress. RJ has really showed that he's developing a 3-point shot right now. And it's big because defenders are forced to play up on him and pressure him, which gives him more angles to the basket and more scoring opportunities and more opportunities to get to the free throw line and shoot there, where he's been much better than he was last year. He was at 74% last year, and he's at 84% thus far in this season. And even on the defensive end, he's been really good. Not playing defense on the best guy from every team, but playing defense on maybe the second best guy or the third best guy, depending on positions. Grimes is going to have the best guard every game, and Robinson is going to have the best big every game. Brunson's not a great defender. Randall tries really hard, and so does Brunson, but they're both not the best defenders in the world. Brunson's good at taking charges, and Barrett's really strong, and he doesn't get in foul trouble a lot. But that leads Barrett to really guard the best forward on any given team. And he's done that well. He's had to guard guys like, he guarded Jaylen Brown in the opener against the Celtics. He did a good job locking him up. Jaylen Brown looked really bad in that game. And I give a lot of credit of that to RJ Barrett, who continues to impress, as I mentioned, and has really looked like he's taken that step that I wanted him to take, and I think he needed to take in order to stay in a Knick uniform past this trade deadline. he signed the 3-year or the 5-year deal before last season, but I think Leon Rose would have been able to move that contract if he ate some of it. And I think he would be willing to do that if he was getting a good enough return. But in this one, I already mentioned the Nova Knicks and RJ and Mitch. Let's get to Quentin Grimes and Julius Randle for a second. And Emmanuel quickly. Because they all contributed. Whether it's Grimes and his defense, we know he's so good at that. Or it's quickly scoring the ball. He had a really nice floater and an one floater that pushed the Knicks lead to 22 points at that point. And he played a big game for the Knicks. They really weren't dominating until that second unit came in and quickly brought the energy. Josh Hart does what he does best, brought a lot of energy as well. And that's when the Knicks started to pull away. And that's how this team works. Brunson and Randall and RJ give them a solid lead. But then the second unit comes in and they extend the lead. They make it further. And then they'll put the first unit back in and they'll sustain the lead. And that's why I think the Knicks are so dangerous. Unlike the Celtics, who are undefeated right now and do look like one of the best teams in the league, the Celtics have no bench. They have nobody off their bench besides Derek White's even a starter. They have nobody off that bench. And I think that's a big piece when you're looking at it because your starting five can't play all 48 minutes. They can play really up to 35, up to 40 minutes. But beyond that, it's not likely that they're going to get any more minutes. And the bench is really big for a team like the Knicks, who don't have the best starting five in the league, but they have a respectable starting five and then a really good bench that comes in and wins the game, really. And another big part of this win was the shooting. It was a big part in the win against the Hawks, who aren't a very good defensive team, and it was a big part of the Cavs, who are a better defensive team, and they were very short-handed in this game. I don't want to take any credit away from the Cavs for coming in with a very depleted roster, and they lost by a lot, but it was a good effort, to say the least, by the Cavs. But for the shooting, I already mentioned RJ and his development of a three-point shot. Brunson, he looked like the Brunson we saw last year. He was attacking. He was getting his mid-range shots. He took a couple threes, but it was mainly the mid-range shots, and that's where he makes his money. Right around the free throw line, and then he'll drive in. He'll take a tough floater and get fouled, go knock down a couple free throws, and then he'll get a couple layups. And it wasn't like Randall was coming down and just taking whatever double team contested shot he wanted to, because he really hasn't done that this season as much, and that's really good because we really do not need that. And I don't think anybody in that Knicks organization wants Randall to be doing that. But they were working together. They were passing. They were screening. They were cutting. And it felt like a lot of their points came off of assists. It wasn't a lot of isolation. And I said this in the last episode. The Knicks aren't a team that are going to call 55 ISOs a game and then kill you that way. They're going to work. They're going to move the ball around. And they're going to get shots the way they want to. Overall, Knicks get a big win by 18 points, 109-91. I'm proud of the way this team played, and I think they played a really good game. I think this is what we should expect from this team going forward, and it was a complete game. I already said they played all from quarters 1 through 4, and that they played hard all those quarters, but it was the rebounding it was the free throw shooting that was good. It was better. And it was the passing that won this game for the Knicks. And I mentioned in the last episode, one last thing, that the Knicks were missing a lot of transition looks. Yeah, that did not happen at all in this game. The Knicks went out and they played a very sound game. They played a very good game, and it's what we need going forward from this team. All right, getting to my NFL picks for week 9. Last week, I went 11 for 16 on my picks. So I'll take that, though. And then the week previous to that, I think I went 8 for 13. So I've messed up on 5 games both weeks. And for the first 2 weeks doing that, I'd say that's pretty good. And this week, I think my picks are even better than the last 2. So I hope they are, at least. Starting it off on Thursday Night Football. Titans taking on the Steelers in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh are one of the better defensive teams in the NFL, top 7 defense, I think they are. But the Titans and Will Levi out of Kentucky looked very good last Sunday. I don't think I think it's Levi is the long-term answer, but he's certainly provided for this game, and he might be the long-term answer. He's a rookie quarterback who's still developing a lot and has a lot of developing to do, so he could very well be the next franchise quarterback for the Titans. And then another thing, trade rumors for Derrick Henry have been talked about all season long, and the trade deadline passed, and who knows if those rumors were getting to his head, if he was like, oh, this could be my last game in Tennessee. Oh, I might get traded away from this team. But now those rumors are gone because the trade deadline has passed and he's still in Tennessee. So I think that's going to help him, and I think he's going to go on a tear to close the season out. All right, next game, Giants taking on the Raiders in Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. Giants looking to get their first win in Allegiant Stadium, still a pretty new stadium. And the host of the next Super Bowl. So we'll see who that is between. Coming up here pretty shortly, honestly. The season's already going to be halfway done after this week. And it's felt like it's gone fast. It hasn't been a long season. And that's surprising me because of how poorly the Giants have performed. But the Giants and the Raiders, I got to take the Giants here. They were so close to beating the Jets. We're a way better team than the Raiders, and they should have beat the Jets. I think if I was Dayball, I would have gone for it on 4th and 1, but Gano is a trusted veteran, and I'm not going to complain too much about him kicking that field goal. It was a 31-yard chip shot. Like, most of the time, Gano is going to make that. And this happened to be the one that he didn't, and that's okay, because he'll get the next ones. He had a game-winning field goal in Arizona already this season, so I'm not too worried. I didn't think they were gonna beat the Jets, and for it to be that bad with their third-string quarterback Tommy DeVito playing most of the game, I'll take that. And Daniel Jones is coming back this week. And then last thing about the Raiders. They made so many changes this week. They fired their head coach. They fired their general manager. They fired their offensive coordinator. They benched their veteran quarterback for a 4th-round rookie. I just don't think they're going to be prepared to beat the Giants, who have had a system with Dayball and Shane for now a year and a half. Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley. These guys know the playbook and they know everything. And against a Raider team that is still learning a new playbook with their new coach, I just don't think that the Raiders have a chance of winning this game. All right, next game, Dolphins at Chiefs in Frankfurt, Germany. The game of the week for me. I'm taking the Chiefs here. They lost 24-9 in Denver the other on Sunday. and they played terrible. They were the only team in the NFL to not score a touchdown this week, and I don't expect that to happen again. Who knows if Taylor Swift is going to be in attendance, if she's going to fly all the way out to Germany. But if she does, the stats are going to say that Travis Kelce is going to have a huge game, which he has every time Taylor Swift has been in attendance. But even without Taylor Swift, that was a terrible performance from the Chiefs, and I don't expect that to happen at all again. Maybe even the next 2 or 3 seasons until this roster undergoes some major changes. But give me the Chiefs in this one. Out in Germany. They're going to win early in the morning. All right, next game. Seahawks and Ravens. Another good game. Seahawks are atop the NFC West. I didn't think I'd be saying that after how hot of a start the Niners had to the season. But they've quickly dropped 3 in a row against the Colts, the Browns, and the Bengals. So that was it was the Browns, the Colts, and the Bengals. Yeah, I was right. But the Seahawks have suddenly climbed to the top of the NFC West, and with Geno Smith, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and their guys, they have a good roster. They're pretty underrated, and they have a chance at winning this division for sure, even with the addition of Chase Young to that 49er front four. But for this game, give me the Ravens. Lamar Jackson has been playing really well to this point in the season, and I just can't see them losing a game to a team that I think is worse than them. So I'm taking the Ravens here. Cardinals and Browns. I think we all know who I'm taking here. This is the Browns. They have a top defense in the league, and they have a very capable offense with Deshaun Watson, Kareem Hunt, Amari Cooper. Why can't they go win a game against a very bad Cardinals team? Kyler Murray might be making his season debut in this game. Who knows? They just traded Josh Dobbs away at the deadline, which makes me think that Kyler Murray might start. There's a realistic chance that he could. But either way, I'm taking the Browns. I don't think Kyler Murray is going to lead this team to victory. Either way. Next game, Buccaneers and Texans. Give me the Texans. They lost to the Panthers, a winless team prior to that matchup last Sunday. And I think that they're hungry. CJ Stroud is by far a better quarterback right now than Bryce Young. We can have this conversation again in 5 years and see who's better. Because I think Bryce Young will take a leap by that point. People are saying he's undersized, and people are saying that he might never be one of the top quarterbacks in the league. But I don't think that's going to happen. I still think that the Texans take this game against a bad offense with the Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield is not a top quarterback in the league. And then Chris Godwin and Mike Evans are good wide receivers, but they don't have anyone throwing them the ball. The Bears and the Saints. I'm going to call this one the upset of the week. Give me the Bears. The Saints, much like the Knicks, have looked out of sync, and their guys haven't looked like they're on the same page. And the Bears, they lost to the Chargers this weekend on Sunday Night Football. I get that. But I also think that they're a solid team with DJ Moore and Cole Kmet and Dante Foreman. Bajan is an okay quarterback, and he might be able to win this game for the Bears. And I'm going to trust him. I'm going to pick the Bears here. Vikings and Falcons. I'm gonna take the Falcons. The Vikings went out and traded for Josh Dobbs after Kirk Cousins tore his Achilles. Another one of those season-ending injuries. The list is really long this year. You got Nick Chubb, Aaron Rodgers. He might end up coming back. You got J.K. Dobbins. You got Trayvon Diggs. And there are more, I know. Oh, you got what's the guy on the Bills? The quarterback, the corner. It'll come back to me. But I'm taking the Vikings in this one. The Falcons did bench Desmond Ridder. But I don't think it's gonna matter. Bijan Robinson can carry the load if they have to start handing the ball off and not being able to throw it. So give me the Falcons. Rams and Packers. Give me the Rams. They got crushed by the Cowboys last week in their home stadium, SoFi Stadium. And now they're going to Green Bay. I think that they take a win here. Jordan Love and those guys haven't proven anything to me. And if they did, maybe I would have chose them. But I can't choose them over a Rams team that has Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford. Commanders and Patriots. This is going to be a solid game. A boring game, but a close one, I think. I'm going to take the Commanders, though. They hung with one of the top teams in the league in the Eagles. In my opinion, I would say the best team in the league now. That the Niners have dropped three in a row. And the Patriots, they're just not that good with Mac Jones. And I can't see them winning. So give me the Commanders. Colts and Panthers. Another game between really bad teams that might be close down the stretch. But I'm going to take the Panthers. They got their first win last week against the Texans. And if Bryce Young can keep that up, he's still going to be in the conversation for Rookie of the Year. So I think the Panthers take this one. Cowboys and Eagles, America's Game of the Week. An NFC East matchup. But I'm going to go with the Eagles here. The Cowboys are going to be riding high off that blowout win in LA. And the Eagles, although they did get a win, they've been there before and they know how to act. And they beat a bad team. So I think the Eagles take the dub here. And pretty easily. I don't think the Cowboys are anything special. We saw it in that game against the Niners. They got destroyed. So, give me the Eagles. Bills and Bengals as we get into the final games of the week. I'm going to take the Bengals here. They've put together a couple wins in a row and are suddenly above 500 after a slow start. They knocked off the Niners last week, and I expect that to continue against a Buffalo Bills team that hasn't necessarily one of the top teams that we expected them to be. So I'm going to take the Bengals here, and it'll be a close game, but I'm taking the Bengals. Chargers and Jets on Monday Night Football. I'm going to take the Jets. Zach Wilson has definitely taken a step here after Aaron Rodgers got hurt. I guess Aaron Rodgers' mentorship was good in the offseason, and it's helping Zach Wilson to be a better player. Because even we saw last year, after a loss to the Patriots, Mac Jones blamed the loss on the other guys on the team. And then this year, in that loss on Sunday Night Football to the Chiefs, he took the blame in a game where it wasn't his fault that they lost. So I think he's becoming a leader, and he's becoming a better player overall because of that. All right, that's going to do it for this episode. But before I finish, as always, make sure to check out my YouTube and Instagram. Instagram is the sportspod_Ben, and YouTube is the sportspod. And a big announcement. Video podcasts are now available on Spotify. So that is all the platforms that allow video now. I've maxed it out. So I wouldn't expect any expansion coming soon, but if an opportunity presents itself, I will definitely take it. All right, that's going to do it for this episode. I'm your host, Ben Ballion, and this was the Sports Pod.